The story of Berserk is probably the most heart-clenching, realistic, and darkest stories out there. But what is even more mysterious is the fact that the protagonist fights demons all day, claps demon cheeks in the first chapter, and wields a 300-pound sword with one hand and manages to look like the most aesthetic possible person on the planet without looking like Eddie Hall's fat abs. Well, can you even build a GUTZ physique in the first place? The answer to that question might just surprise you. GUTZ, a former mercenary and branded wanderer who travels the world in a constant internal struggle between pursuing his own ends and upholding his attachments to those dear to him, is a badass, bro, frankly. I remember clearly, though, just how much suffering he has gone through, both mentally and physically. Initially, though, driven solely by his will to survive, GUTZ finds purpose in life when he joins the band of Falcon, significantly contributing to the faction's storied success during the 100-Year War as the captains of the band's raiders. He eventually becomes dissatisfied with the clinging to Griffith's dream and departs from the band to pursue his own. Following the horrors of the eclipse, led by Griffith, GUTZ embarks on a 2-year war against the God Hand and the Apostles, becoming increasingly embittered on his quest for retribution. There's a panel of the manga chapter that is just crazy. I remember where GUTZ pulls up with his Dragon Slayer and he cuts some giant chubby dude in half like he's nothing. The sword he wields is, like, according to the wiki, 300 pounds. It's called the Dragon Slayer. That's crazy, man. 300 pounds? Bro, I can barely deadlift that, bro. Okay, so we know that he has gone through roughly 2 years of fighting the God Hand, and he's in constant battle, wielding a 300-pound sword like it's nothing. So that's at least 2 years worth of rucking, single-hand wielding, swinging, and wielding a 300-pound piece of metal that's sharp while wearing his berserker armor that roughly weighs about another 60 pounds according to Reddit. That's not even including pre-eclipse GUTZ into the equation, where he already was wielding the Dragon Slayer sword for God knows how long. Do you see where I'm getting at now? In our world, 300 pounds of metal in one hand and wearing a 60-pound worth of armor and having the explosive and agility of GUTZ, who weighs 250 pounds and he's 6'5", bro. Just think of your joints, bro. Having to constantly support 600 pounds worth of weight at all times for years, your joints will corrode for sure. Yes, we have the world's strongest men who can probably wield the sword double-handed, but single-handed, bro, come on. So long story short, if you're in the Berserk universe, which probably has, according to a lot of variety of sources and my theories as well, probably has lesser gravity holding you down. Because of that, you can be as strong as GUTZ. It's a fantasy world. That's a very optimistic assumption, though, considering that GUTZ is the protagonist of the story and has plot armor, although not the best, versus you, a normie NPC who will have at most a side character status in the manga. You will not have his buffs. You do not have berserker armor, and you are frankly sitting on your ass watching this video right now. So how do you expect to build a GUTZ physique? Or can you build one? That's the question. In our current world, even with intense gravity, yes you can. Although, I'll tell you, not naturally. Building that physique natty, I think it's near impossible, or it is impossible. Unless you dedicate yourself to training every day of your life, 4 hours a day for the next 15 years, and are 6'5" tall. I'm willing to vouch that it's almost impossible to build it naturally. I'm afraid to say that you need peak height genetics along with peak muscle building genetics. I'm not trying to discourage you from, going onto this self-improvement journey. It's great, it's wonderful. Strictly speaking, his fitness and physique, though, you can build it regardless of height. If you want to look exactly like GUTZ, you'd have to be at least 6'4"-ish though. But on a purely aesthetics speaking note, you can. But if you're factoring height and weight, nah, I don't think it's possible, Natty. But aesthetically speaking, it is possible. 3 years of solid strength and hypertrophy training, and you can build his physique aesthetically speaking. And if you're under 6'2", it would probably only require you to fill out your frame to around 200 pounds or even less, That would be peak you. You would look like an absolute unit and still look like GUTZ, just minus the height. Let me go over some principles with you, okay? So let's say you're doing some form of strongman principles guided. Your main source of training would be strength-focused training. So this would include the strongman log carries, okay? Some David Goggins style. Who's gonna carry the boots? And also just doing your regular strength training and powerlifting-esque trainings. I'd recommend a lot of deadlifting and rucking, along with plenty of abdominal training, along with just basic compound movements like the squat and also the bench press. This way, you will build a strong body along with having the benefits of the hypertrophy also. If you want a program, link in the description, by the way, it's free, check it out. So in terms of nutrients, I'd recommend just stick with animal-based products. There has been a lot of research recently that has been backing the fact that if you eat a lot of plant-based products, you're not getting a full amino acid profile in terms of protein. Eat your goddamn red meats and your meat. That's where you get most of your full amino acid profile to build that fuller physique, because you are not at a disadvantage because you're getting more balanced profile of protein. You want that, so I'd say stick with your red meats and don't forget your fats. Red meats come along naturally with fats, okay? It's all right to have an alternative with a bit more fat in it and a bit less protein. That's fine, it's a good balance. And make sure that you're eating your calories. Go to tdecalculator.net if you haven't gone there yet and calculate your maintenance calories. And add, I'd say, 600 calories to that maintenance goal. That way you're in a constant bulk, not necessarily a dirty bulk, but a bulk enough that you're putting on decent weight as the months go by. And after a few years, you will have built a 200-pound-esque physique and you will be absolutely massive, bro. Optionally, agility and plyometrics training. This is just to mimic what GUTZ kind of does with his rucking and whatnot, if you're not already doing it. Plyometrics, because he is an absolute menace. He's agile and he's super fast. So if you want to mimic that performance-based or his performance, I recommend you do plyometrics and even some overcoming isometrics, because he's an absolute freak, bro. And I know you're absolutely freaky too, bro. So go do your plyometrics. Go to the link in the description, check it out. That said, if you really want to build a GUTZ physique, check out the training plan I have linked. And stay consistent, train hard, eat a lot of protein, and you will build a GUTZ physique, honestly, bro. It's possible. Just don't let his body dysmorphia image cause you to lose hope in the process. You can, it's possible, just not exactly his specifications, okay? Get out of here, start improving.